Yo, what's going on, guys? 2Bus Minecraft here for another episode of How to Cannon. Now, before I start off, I just want to apologize. I actually did miss an episode last week, and yeah, just sorry about that. But I'll try to get back on schedule now, as you guys are seeing this on a Wednesday, at least hopefully. Shit. Anyways, you guys saw my title today. I'm covering Order of Entities. Now, I actually made a video on this cannon, this 100 stacker fusion cannon, a while ago, and a few people had questions about them and wanted to know how Order of Entities works. So I thought, well, I might as well make a video on it. So, a few things you may have taken from that, if you're just looking at the cannon, is it has all these layers in the sand compressor. Now, I'll explain that in a bit. But as you guys can see, it does stack on slabs and has a flat guide and everything. But the reason all of these piston layers are here and are necessary is so all this sand can render as an entity, as in it's in a falling state, in between the propulsion ticking off and the hammer ticking off, which is a distance of 4 ticks, as you can see here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, 1 and then like 3. You get me. I don't know how to count. Anyways. So yeah, all this sand has to turn into an entity in between the propulsion and the hammer. Now, the reason before this is that's how index stacking works. In order to stack on a flat guider and have hammer velocity affect sand without them having a barrel guider difference, honestly, I don't know why Minecraft functioned this way, but it's the order that they are rendered in. So first goes the propulsion, which is actually going to apply velocity to the sand and hammer in order to make them move. Then goes the sand, so it's all rendered before the hammer. So this has velocity before the hammer does. So now the hammer ticks off. So as they shoot out, they're both in the same block. And since that sand rendered before the hammer, when the hammer goes off, that velocity will again affect it. I'll actually be able to affect again, this is the hammer. And this thing only stacks 100, but I need a ridiculous amount of hammer, because you do need actually quite a bit more hammer to do this in order for it to function properly. Now, this does stack in one shot, but right now I'm just going to fire it normally. As you guys can see, 0 guider difference, of course. And also, I'll show this with left shooting right now as well, because there's some really funky things you can do with that. As you see, all the sand turned into an entity quite rapidly, and that allows it to be able to stack. So all these pistons pull out, and then 1 tick later, of course, the sand, all sand will be able to turn to an entity. So this takes about 2 or 3 ticks-ish for all the sand to turn to an entity, which of course is within the 4-tick gap. And if you're going to wire a can like this, you're going to need to count ticks to your propulsion. So it'd count until this repeater. So this would be the last one you count. So this would be 4, 5. Actually, it's easier to count like this. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 and 2. That's how I measure things. So 6 full repeaters, then 2 extra ticks. So then you come over here and do that. So now I need to apply this. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 tick. But of course, these comparators add like that little extra delay plus the redstone torch and these repeaters for the second arm. So it's all fine and dandy. And of course, then it falls while these repeaters are actually being powered before these dispensers actually tick off. So yeah, that's how that works. You guys are gonna want to wire it like that if you want to make your own fusion stacker. And there's a lot of really interesting things you can do with this. One of which I'm about to show you, or well, not really show you, or demonstrate and explain. Of course, there are normal cannons like these, and also fusion cannons. Well, all right, so Order of Entity fusion cannons cannot well, I'll fix that later. It looks like it's on 1 string right now. I don't know why. But anyways, fusion Order of Entity fusion cannons cannot slab bust using this method. Now, if you wanted one to slab bust, there's other methods of fusion stacking. One of which being propulsion on 2 pulses, where the first pulse will launch your slab bust in sand. So your slab bust launch, hit the wall, fall like 2 blocks. But while it was falling, this propulsion has gone off again, shooting out the hammer. So now they both shot through a 1x1 hole. And if I can get something to sandstone maybe. Just give me a second, and then TNT. So of course your sand hits the wall, okay? And then it drops down maybe 1 or 2 blocks. But while it has been dropping down, that fires off. Here comes in the hammer, and it hits right here. And of course, there is a block difference there. So the hammer's velocity will affect the sand and slab bust as it normally would in a normal cannon. Of course, you would either need 2 cannons or a double pulse propulsion and figure out the timings with the hammer and the slab bus and everything. And that could get kind of messy. Well, that's one way of doing it. Actually, I think that's, to my knowledge, that's the only way of doing it. If you guys can work out your own ways and everything. I encourage you to. But right now, I'm not too interested in doing that, as this was more like a testing cannon. I could probably do that and work it. Also, I will not leave a down to this cannon, but the next cannon I'm about to show you, I will. I'm just gonna make sure this thing can actually launch that. Huh. Well, like I said, I'll fix that shit later. So there's other ways fusion stacking can be used in a very useful manner, and I'm gonna go show you right now. Alright, so here I am at a very small cannon. Actually a 20 stacker. Let me just go paste in that sand before I go and copy this one. So this is a 20 stacker, well, more like a 24 stacker, or whatever I have it at. And it also, likewise, the other cannon also uses Order of Entities to stack and everything. But, alright, so, well, first I'm just going to fire this off, show you that works. I'm sure I do have the correct timings correct. Yeah. I'm just gonna fire this off real quick. Alright, so yeah, you can see it stacks in the same method. That red sand broke for whatever reason. It just gets kind of glitchy. I think I may have too much power, too much hammer. Alright, so that's stacked. Using flat guiders, I go and show you real quick. Now, this thing has a left shooter attachment on it. Now, the amazing thing about Order of Entities is, alright, so with the normal left shooter, so I can explain this probably better than just, oh my gosh. So I can physically explain this better than verbally. So with the normal left shooter, you have your left shoot here, sand here, and then probably slab bust somewhere about here, but of course there's an Order of Entities cannon, so no slab bust. So there's this trapdoor guider difference. So your left shooter is aligned to this side of the barrel, and your hammer and sand, of course, are aligned to this side. So, of course, this TNT is going to be just like slightly outside of their block, so it's going to shoot it left. Now, the thing is, this barrel difference, as you move on with greater distances, here, let me just bring this over here. So here's your left shoot, and like here would be your sand, here would be your hammer, of course, more like kind of ish in the same block as a trapdoor, like trapdoor distance away. So they're not exactly in the same block. And they're going to be affected by this TNT in a different manner. So as time progresses, your hammer starts drifting away from your sand. And then you start having a problem. So eventually, of course, you're not even going to be able to left shoot because your hammer's way up here and your sand's like way down here. So that's like the splitting effect. That's why also kind of why some have like some repeaters on 2 ticks, some on 1 ticks. But the thing with fusion stacking, flat guiders, you don't have that problem. Your left shoot's on the same guider, your hammer's on the same guider, your sand's on the same guider. So no matter where they go, your sand and your here, let's say this is a full block. This represents a full block. Actually, no, I really can't even do it like that. But your hammer and your sand at any point will always be in the same block. Provided you have a left shoot capable, you can left shoot 100 chunks away, and it would work the same as any other left shooter would through a 1x1 hole. And of course, that's the concept of infinite left shooting with zero guider difference, because you don't have that splitting, you don't have that limiting factor, which makes things just work so beautifully. Like if I just quickly adapt this to left shoot, put this on Vortex, it's not going to left shoot perfectly because I couldn't be bothered to figure out the correct ratios, as I am not the most amazing person with left shooting. I just had a full repeater there, of course, to accommodate for the left shoot. Oh, also that's something I need to mention. Likewise, you would have it go off between the thing affecting your sand, the thing applying velocity to your sand, and the actual hammer. You don't time your sand between your propulsion and hammer. You time it between your left shoot and hammer, because of course the left shoot is what's applying the initial velocity, if that makes any sense. So I'm just gonna paste that real quick. This is gonna left shoot very retardedly, but the thing is, well, I'll show you right now. You see, that's shot diagonally low, and honestly, a normal cannon, that wouldn't have even worked, like, whatsoever, because of course your sand would go somewhere and your hammer would go another place. So I just change ratios, like, I don't know, I'll just do something random probably to change it. This will probably fire extremely strangely, more like. So now actually that went in about the same place. Okay, well, just give me a second. I'm trying to demonstrate this. So I'll just add that. It should mess it up enough. Alright, there we go. So I got to shoot lower. And of course, your hammer and your sand are always going to be in that same block. So no matter where your hammer winds up, your sand is there, like right with it. And of course, you have the order of entities correct, so your hammer is going to affect your sand. If I had the hammer blowing up, let's say, like, well, of course I'd have to have a wall for them to be running. Like up here, if I had just had it like upwards all the way up, it would stack. It'd probably only stack like 2 sand, of course, because then at that distance it can't really affect it too much, and you need more hammer. But theoretically, if you had enough hammer, it would stack fine. Since you don't have that splitting, they're always in the same block. And there's a lot of interesting things you can do with order of entities. Something I'm currently working on is infinite reverse hybrid. So that should be a video soon. Whereas your sand falls between your reverse and your hammer. Therefore, you can just have a certain amount of power reversing it and never have to change amounts of power, and theoretically it could go from Y probably like 7-ish to Y 255, in theory, of course. So that should be interesting, but you can do a lot of crazy things like that. Use your imagination. Maybe even reverse midair functioning by the same properties, so probably make it easier to do reverse midair, but then of course there's the whole exposure between sand and TNT ratio, the way they're affected by TNT, where TNT moves faster than sand does, so that could create problems, but I'm pretty sure you guys could figure out ways to go around that. But anyways, this is just a kind of explanation video on how order of entities works. This can will be down, I'll have a download link in the description, so you guys can play around with this concept on your own. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys learned something, and if you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.